Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? It's your boys in here. Welcome back to our newest Pokemon Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against DaRizzle. His name really reminds me of one of my favorite Pokemon Let's Players, pretty much one of the few that I actually watch, being Rchizzle9. I will leave his link in the description, guys. If you haven't heard of him, which you probably should have had, then go check him out. I also want to plug another Let's Player that I watch when it comes down to Pokemon content by the name of Rukia. She makes Pokemon Black White randomized Nuzlocke right now, and that is a blast. So be sure to check them both out. And with that being said, let's go directly into this battle. So my opponent is gonna lead with Hypno. He's gonna put the Light Screen, but I do go for the knockoff and get rid of the Light Clay, which is actually pretty good because now the screens on his behalf are not gonna be up as long as mine will be in comparison. So I switch out to Weezing because I don't want to risk too much. The devil is gonna come in and it's gonna say hi, and you know the right way of approaching and truly making the devil feel at home is by sending in the balls, basically. So the devil's gonna calm her tits and stuff are just gonna be messy, ladies and gentlemen. It is the devil at the end of the day. It's a sneaky little beast, but it's gonna need to switch out. It's gonna sneak its way out the way we need it and the way we wanted it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go directly for the Sludge Bomb, try to get some damage. He had to switch out because while he does, you know, get that Light Screen and just special defense, it's incredible bulky now. It's gonna take my moves reasonably easy. The thing is that you gotta keep involved that I can poison it, and then he's kind of crippled at some point. You know, he cannot do much. He's gonna need to rely on Wish, and I got Venom Shock 130 base afterwards. So him switching out was not all that bad of an idea, but then again, Hypno is still gonna need to, you know, clean house at this point. He's just gonna need to leave the party for now. So I'm switching out to Camera Up because I know he doesn't have Toxic anymore. I haven't seen T-Wave. I'm pretty sure, you know, if anything, I can at least put up the rocks. He's got that Typhlosion, and Hypno is a perfect set for it to put up the rocks and try to handle that Typhlosion later on with common ground and not really force it to just erupt on my whole team, because that is something I don't want to be facing. So Hypno is going to be taken out. I'm going to put up the rocks at the perfect moment. He unfortunately did manage to put up the Light Screen because the Light Clay was gone and Light Screen kind of get rid of it a little bit too soon, you know, for him to set up again. But they're not going to be up there for far too long now. The Light Clay is not involved in any case. He's gonna switch out to Armaldo, go directly for the Stone Edge, ladies and gentlemen. That does so much damage. It does kind of give me realizing this is without a doubt a Choice Bandit set. Do we say Choice Band? I was so used to saying Choice Bandit, while I should pronounce it Choice Band. It's something that kept on staying with me for years, but it's not important. Anyways, he switches out to Kangaskhan. I did manage to put up the, you know, the Reflect there, which is actually quite important when facing threats such as this. He does fake out, but the thing is, I'm actually very slow. I'm especially defensive with HP investment, so I don't really possess much speed. He could have easily outspeed me, just return, not even waste a turn of Life Orb there, but it will do. Now, you know, he wasn't too sure about that. Still, I'm gonna switch out to my Malamar afterwards because I know I can take anything from this, especially when they actually consider adding the Reflect support. This is actually very good because we got +1, we got Reflect. Our defense is pretty much on pair with those of Uber's right now, and basically when it comes down to it, he's gonna need to hit me on the special defense. So basically he switches out to the devil itself again. Just gonna go for Psycho Cut to see how much I can do. I believe Psycho Cut does have a good chance to crit. Fortunately, we're not gonna get it. He's just gonna go for Calm Mind. He needs that bulk. He needs that special attack, and may as well go against the Malamar. But the thing is, Malamar can proceed to stock up its attack if I proceed to go for the superpower, which is exactly what I do, because seeing the damage, you know, I'm not all that comfortable. I'm not liking the results. I need more boost. I need more strength. So basically he does go for the Wish. He's gonna Wish upon the stars, which is actually pretty bad. If I only did superpower before, maybe I can two-shot it afterwards and I would have not been in situations such as this. But it's not gonna come down to it, as unfortunately we're gonna miss the target, we're gonna miss that KO, and he's gonna go for Dazzling Gleam. But because Mega Audino does possess, and this is probably fully defensive set with HP investment, he just doesn't have the juice in attack, at least not with one. With two, it does come down to some really good attack, but with one, not so much. So even super effective move will not be enough to take us out. I was fully aware of that situation, so I go directly for the superpower to stock up the damage, to force him to eventually attack me because he's in no position to do anything else, and that's gonna allow me to switch out to the incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this is such a fun poke. I switch out to Rivalry, ladies and gentlemen. Luxray, aka Varia, she does not mess around. When she faces same gender, those genders should run because they're gonna be messing with something that is 75% more powerful than looking at it without this item. Choice Bandit, ladies and gentlemen, same gender, Rivalry 25% adding on the top of Choice Band is insane. It does it can two-shot with Stealth Rock support. That's right, a fully defensive Mega Audino. I did calcs on this. It is insane, guys. Like 52% it can do, and that just blows my mind. But it is situational on the gender, but it's so fun. So I switch out to my Ferret. I was kind of expecting Eruption, but he actually surprised me by going for the Flamethrower. Now I did see the Frisk there, you know, kind of give me telling what kind of set he is. And I do need to say something that I've come to realize, you know. When you're more into Pokemon, the more you go into this, just looking at the team item, it can be very important. And I've come to realize that Frisk is probably the best ability in the game, just because of this, you know. You're gonna see a little bit later on what I'm talking about. Anyways, he makes an incredible move, knowing fully well I'm gonna switch out to my camera because he locks himself into Flamethrower, and me knowing fully well of him that he's Choice Scarf, he did switch out at the same time, forced me to switch out, but not all has been lost, ladies and gentlemen, as we actually seen that he's got choice specs on this, which is something I did not expect. But as you guys can see, Frisk can be incredibly useful in this situation because Semipour can, some of them can run Substitute, and that's something I was kind of scared of. Now luckily we did connect the Thunder, you know, as a true Kami that he was actually once named after. You know, he was basically, Weezing was named Kami, but this one sadly isn't. Still, I actually got you know, the devices now, and I'm probably gonna try to rename this thing. But for now, we're just gonna go for Sludge Bomb. We're gonna poison this Armaldo. Sadly, we do outspeed. I'm not too sure how much speed Armaldo possesses. Thinking about it, Weezing is surprisingly fast for its design. Somebody would think it's slow, but it's actually very good. And being like, you know, it's basically being like a tank now. It tends to outspeed most of the walls and things, and just poisoning this is incredible. But I'm just gonna switch out to Varia to try to, you know, clean up the mess, starting with Armaldo. He cannot really switch out because nothing is gonna appreciate taking a Choice Bandit, you know, Volt Charge. It is quite incredibly powerful, and I love the design of Luxray. It is one of the coolest in my book, like when it comes down to 4th generation. Still, I'm gonna go for the Wild Charge again against this, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at the massive damage. Sadly, you know, because of the Stealth Rocks, we managed to survive the Eruption that was not full power, but just that pretty much boggles my mind. If that was same gender as me, I would have just one-shot right there and then. That is insane. So I decided, you know, Blaze range, I don't want to risk Varia going down like this, plus the recall and all. I may as well switch out to the Volcano, and you just do not erupt on Volcano. Nature just doesn't allow it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down old school, ladies and gentlemen, like Magmar did against the Charizard, going for that fire blasting. That animation is so old school. It really reminds me of the old anime, and that was the game, ladies and gentlemen. That was a match against Dachizzle. Excellent match, man. I really like the play you did with Simipour there. Expect me to switch out, knowing fully well that I know now you got Choice Scarf on this, but I did not expect your Simipour to be Choice Spec. So Frisk coming in, actually giving some use, but you know, it's incredible. Some of this abilities that most people would not even bother, but you know, when it comes down to, I guess, Ferret, he doesn't have any other, like, Runaway is useless, and I believe he's got Pickup, which is also useless, but that ability is so useful. It really is, especially when you're facing some really good, strong opponents like this guy. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Good game to my opponent. Thank you for having this match with me, and with that being said, until next time, take care everyone. Peace.